About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
And what's going on? We are here on a Memorial Day, Monday night, to talk a little birds. OTAs being this week, so we got a lot to talk about there. The coaching pressers, the assistant coaches spoke. A lot of people are happy to finally hear Sean Mannion talk, discuss a little bit about his offense and everything along the lines of that. So Vic Fangio, of course, spoke as well. So got a little bit of that. Maybe some players to watch as we have the OTAs. But Matt, we're back and ready to go.
Do we get real football this week? I mean, not real football, but we get legit football activities, which we've been craving since January.
You get to see who's wearing what helmets and what kind of design, stuff like that. So, we'll get into that as that unfolds and do all that. But the first I want to talk about is the OTAs beginning. So it'll give us a chance to see some of these guys for the first time in a little bit. Of course, they had the rookie mini camp and all of that, but it's good to see the guys on the field. And again, it's just organized team activities. It's nothing, it's not training camp, nothing like that. But again, it's, the guys are getting together, and I believe it's voluntary. So certain players won't be there, as we know, definitely of one that won't be there that we won't discuss until a later date, since it's been already talked about, ad nauseum.
Let's talk about him on June 2nd.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm interested to see, and we can even talk about the players to watch in terms of what you're excited about as this offseason and these OTAs going into training camp, who we're kind of excited to see. Because I think for me, one thing I'm very excited is, listening to Sean Mannion talk and about his offense and everything, and what we saw in Green Bay and what they did in Green Bay and what that essentially that style of offense does in terms of movement and, essentially getting their guys open, even if they're not the greatest of route runners, which, of course, as the guy pictured on the screen, Smitty is probably one of the best route runners. And then, of course, you add in Mekhi Lemon, who's pretty shifty as his own. But again, you still have these other guys. I'm really interested to see the wide receiving core, minus number 11 when we get into June and everything like that. When you look at the core of these receivers and Dontavian Wicks, I'm interested to see what he brings. Hollywood Brown, these guys, I'm very interested to see. Of course, Darius Cooper, my guy, I'm of course always going to be interested to see what he does. But it's going to be very fun to watch because I feel that, and of course, the quarterback's going to do whatever it takes to win. So for me, it's the fact of seeing these guys, and I think seeing how they evolve and mesh with this new system that Mannion's bringing in.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Devontae Smith as a full-time wide receiver one.
Yeah.
He looks like he's been putting in the work. We're hearing multiple people say I've heard the words man possessed. He's a premier receiver in this league. He looks like he got a little bit bigger. I mean, he's never going to be an AJ Brown, but he looks like he put on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Mekhi Lemon where he slots in, if he will be in the slot, no pun intended. If they'll play him outside, if he'll return kicks. We saw a clip this week that I sent you in the chat of Michael Clay was doing some research on Lemon as a kick returner. We already talked about Wicks and Cooper, or Wicks and Brown, but I'm interested to see where Johnny Wilson slots in.
Yeah.
Right. Because historically, Sirianni has liked a bigger blocking, dirty work receiver. Right. We had Pascal at one point. We had Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson looked like he was going to hold on to that role for years to come, but unfortunately an injury in training camp. So I'm interested to see Elijah Moore too, who's a nice slot receiver. I feel like we have a lot. Although we're losing, it's almost like addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to replace AJ Brown. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like we've brought in a lot more quality, if that makes sense. Wherein the last couple of years it's been quantity.
Yeah.
Just as someone shakes out like a Darius Cooper, who's a great story. He's been a fun player, and I think he has a future with this team. But the guys brought in the offseason, his path to the 53 a little bit more difficult. So that's a really interesting roster position to look at from here on out for obvious reasons, but also to see how Mannion deploys these guys and where.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing too. And it's not only the receiving group. When you take a look at the tight ends and the guys that they brought in, and Dallas Goedert resigning, that's great. Eli Stowers, where he essentially plugs in. Plus, then you got your blocking tight ends in Grant Calcaterra. I'm only kidding. I don't. No, but like Johnny Mundt, and then you have the undrafted free agents, and Daquan Wright.
Yeah,
I believe, right? Daquan Wright, yeah.
Daquan Wright.
I'm very intrigued to watch him. Like, there's a couple undrafted guys I'm really intrigued as we get into the OTAs, into the training camp. He's one, absolutely one. And, of course, Lawson is another one. I'm intrigued by those guys. But, like, the way the offense is going to be – and I think another thing, too, to really think about is, like, yes, Saquon is your number one back. No doubt about it. We know that.
Yeah.
But I think being able to use a guy like Tank Bigsby as a little bit of like giving Saquon some breast, but giving him 5 to 7 carries and not just giving him 1 to 2 carries, letting that different punch in there, a guy that's a little bit different of a runner than Saquon, and just throwing that in there, I think helps the offense in turn, as also, helps them in terms of getting Saquon a little bit of a breather too. It's just like, you don't have to run them 25 to 30 times a game. You can give them, 23 to 25 carry, 20 to 25 carries at most, or 20, 25 touches, whatever you want to say. But like, I think there's a lot to be, and we're going to see it as it gets into camp. And then of course into the preseason games, but I'm very intrigued to see what they do as the OTAs begin this week.
Well, and that's a good point. And I think, it's hard to look at running back in OTAs when you don't have the pads, like edge rushers, offensive linemen, linebackers, running backs. They're hard to gauge at this point because it's basically 7-on-7 camp. But I am interested as the offseason progresses to see how Tank fits in this scheme. Because everything I hear is it's going to be that wide zone, which I feel like is primarily how he got a lot of his yards last year. Like that 22-yard run he had. I forget what game it was. We were in the Kelly Greens.
Was that the Washington game?
Might have been. It was like 3rd and 21, and they gave him a little draw. But
no, that was the Giants game.
Yes. It was an outside zone or wide zone. I don't know which one it was. But he broke like 4 tackles. I just feel like he's that kind of like patient burst, right? And I feel like it's going to be a good scheme for him. I'm interested to see how Shipley fits in there because and what he looks for, he being Sean Mannion, looks for in a third down running back. Like, does he want receiving chops? Does he want someone who's just going to stick their nose in there and make a good block? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see where Shipley fits in there too. And if Dameon Pierce can find a way to get on the team.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Dameon Pierce has.
He's got kick return chops, man. I mean, it'll be interesting.
So the other thing too I'm looking at is
one more before we jump on there. We talked about the tight ends and the running backs. Let's not forget about Cameron Latu and Carson Steele, who are both guys that could potentially be going for that fullback spot, that BVS spot. If they have that role. I don't know if Mannion will deploy a fullback, but I mean, you got Latu, you got Carson Steele, you have Daquan Wright, who could potentially play that role.
And
so
I think you also do have to listen here is when you take a look at like Carson Steele and potentially winning himself a practice squad spot. Showing out if they don't keep a spot. But like Latu too, like if he has the athletic ability to play tight end, and he's showing you as a willing blocker. So that's another thing, especially in this office when usually
teams covered too.
Is it me, or did Green Bay and a lot of these teams keep around 4 tight ends? Like it seems like they keep a lot more tight ends than you would think. Of course, the Rams definitely did. The Rams used the tight end way more than they've ever used it last year. And of course you have the other teams, but like when you look at Green Bay, you think of them having, a handful of tight ends playing at the same time. So Latu can work into that, whether it's going to be that H-back role or a tight end role, kind of seeing what they do with that. So it's going to be interesting. All those questions are going to be there. It's going to be
some amazing tackles on special teams too. Like he was really good on special teams. The
special teams aspect is going to be huge. And, the other thing I want to bring up too is you talk about the Eagles defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. He was at the podium, he spoke. And the one thing, of course, he mentioned, which we kind of knew already because last year they deployed it a lot, was the Cooper DeJean playing safety at base. Yeah. And everyone was saying, well, why do you need to get another veteran safety if he's going to be playing? But they don't play base a whole hell of a lot. Like they usually play in like they'll play a handful of it's not going to be
20 to 25% of their snaps.
Yeah. But mostly it's going to be in nickel. So it's just the way that it's played nowadays. But again, to me, it's like when you look at Vic Fangio and when he speaks about a player, you kind of know whether or not he's bought in or not. And last year when they talked about Adoree Jackson, it was just like
he's here.
We'll see. Yeah, he's here. We'll see.
All he wants him. He wants him.
But with Reek Woolen, like to me, Vic went, I want this guy on this team.
Yeah.
Like, and if you have the right person, which Vic Fangio is, the mastermind of that defense, to me, I think you gamble on a guy like Woolen, who's still young, uber talented, has the speed, is a big, long length. Like there's so many pluses to him that if he's able to, basically, if Vic and the defense is able to, tap back into that potential that he had after his rookie season, this defense is going to be even scarier than it already is.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and speaking of, first of all, anybody who's surprised that Coop would go to safety and Reek would stay on the field, either A, didn't pay attention to last year and how they did that last year, and B, didn't pay attention to the fact that they gave Reek Woolen $15 million and he's not coming off the field, even if it is just 20% of the snaps. But, when we talk about giving praise by Vic Fangio, my ears perked up when he started talking about Gush.
I was going to bring that up, but I let you bring that one up because I know you did mention that.
Ole Miss. I mean, he's primarily a nickel that can play some safety. He's very similar to Michael Carter, and we've talked about this probably 50 times on the show, that there's obviously a bias towards players that can play nickel and safety.
Yeah.
Like Vic obviously prefers that. Look at CJ Johnson, look at Coop, look at Makuba, look at Gush, look at Michael Carter. All of these guys played nickel cornerback and converted to safety, or some variation of that, right? Vice versa.
Brandon Johnson, another great idea, another great example. Jonathan Jones is another guy who has done that. I'm trying to think of who else. Ambry Thomas, kind of, but like there's an obvious bias towards that type of player because it gives you optionality on the defense, being able to not being so telltale, I guess you could say, depending on what side your safety is on the field, right? Like you can drop down if someone motions and not have an extreme drop off in coverage ability. So I keep an eye on Gush again from Ole Miss. He's like 5'9", like a $185, but he ran a 4.3 40. Well, listen, Avonte Maddox was a 5'9", a $190.
Yeah.
Like
now he had some good years for us, but he also, his body took a pounding.
Yeah.
And I remember after his rookie season when he had to play safety, we were all like, nah, maybe he's a safety.
Yeah.
So maybe Bush takes a similar role, but just keep an eye on that name from a back perspective.
The one good thing, like when I think of Vontae Maddox, my lasting memory of him was in the Super Bowl when he had to be put in there, and I said they're going right after him, and he went up and he had the pass defense, and it was like,
yeah,
that's great. That's a great just cap on your Eagles career.
I think it was 3rd and 9, right? And and the next play was either a turnover or a sack. The next play might have been the Coop pick 6.
I thought it was a little bit later in the game, but it was a moment where I knew they were going after him, and he made a play, and it was like, that's great. It's great for all the struggles he had the previous, after coming back into that Super Bowl and just he wasn't the same player. And then 23, it just, you could tell, he had lost a step, and credit to him, he's still on a roster right now. So, that's absolutely great for him. I do want to bring up another player from his draft class, and that would be Josh Sweat.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
I want to bring it up because there's a lot of talk about the Eagles, and of course we all know about the Nolan Smith thing, and got pulled over speeding or everything like that. Whatever.
He's from
yeah, exactly. My thing with it is this: like, Nolan Smith is next year. It's of course his 5th-year option. Jalen Hunt's going to do a deal, say, with Nolan Smith. So it's like, what do you do there? And of course you sign Grenard, and you have nothing but essential question marks. You have a couple 1-year guys that are thrown in there, Ebiketie and Joe Tryon, Sharonka.
Ebiketie, by the way, is 2 years.
Is it a 2-year deal?
Just heard recently. You know what? Let me confirm that.
Well, as you talk to that, I'm going to bring up.
Ebiketie.
Okay. So, of course, Josh Sweat signed with the Arizona Cardinals after a great season with the Eagles. And, of course, Jonathan Gannon was there. And now Jonathan Gannon was fired, and potentially, he's, may not be super happy in his situation there. The thing about it is, the only way he's dealt would be the same thing as another Eagle attempt, essentially a post-June 1 trade, which, again, you still could see that. It's only a week away. It's going to be interesting to see if I don't know when their OTAs begin, if he's going to be there, because I'm not sure if he was there for the recent.
He was
workouts.
not. He was not, which added fuel to this fire. It is a 1-year deal with like 4 void years.
Okay,
he has money on the deal next year.
Okay, so they could keep him around.
Yeah,
but again, like, the way that I'm seeing it is, like, you have a guy who's already played in his defense, thrived in his defense. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if a team that Gannon's on, like the Green Bay Packers, tries to make a deal for him. Again, that would not be super surprising to me. But again, to me, I think you could link Eagles potentially. I know they have, Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith and Grenard and Ebiketie, but listen, the more the merrier there. And again, I also wouldn't be surprised if they were to make a deal like that, and then potentially, depending on how the summer works out, they could make a deal, and they could deal one of the, a Nolan Smith, because I don't know if he's going to get an extension. That's the only tough part. Like, if he has another season like he did last year, where it's 4 or 5 sacks, like, it's, is that somebody who's worth, because they're going to be overpaid. It's going to be that Milton Williams type of thing. And that's the way that I'm seeing this, is it's going to get to that point where he gets to free agency and he's gone, or he's on the 5th-year option and they decide to deal him for, a draft pick, a 4th round, 3rd or 4th round pick, depending So there's a lot of questions that come into play, but if Josh Sweat's name gets brought up, you always think of teams that he played well with, whether it's Green Bay, whether it's Philadelphia. It's going to be very interesting along the lines of that, because if he's dealt, essentially his deal becomes, his cap number essentially is like 10.8 million, 18, which is pretty cheap if you look at next 3 years. He'd be under contract for 3 years. So it's
his
something.
guaranteed salary is only 9.7 this year.
Yeah. So again, it's an interesting aspect, especially when you look with the Eagles potentially after June 1st, what they're going to be doing, potentially getting some assets and stuff. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be a question that's going to arise, especially if he's not at workouts in Arizona. And
he was not at OTAs.
Okay.
And which isn't super unusual for veterans to miss that. But if they release him or trade him post June 1st, they save about 11 million this year and 18.1 over the next 2.
And let's just face it, they're not going to be good. So,
and Gannon's gone now, which was his boy.
Yeah.
It really does make sense. I don't know if they would move draft capital for him because he's 29. And that is, $16 million and then almost 24 million cap hit the next 2. If he's released, I could see it happening. I don't know if Howie would at this point
deal another draft pick.
Give up draft picks unless they could come up with like a Nolan for Sweat swap, knowing that neither one of them is going to be long term.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to keep an eye on.
Maybe AJ Brown goes to Arizona.
That'd be funny, to be honest with you.
Hilarious.
No, but it's just, like I said, the OTAs are beginning, so we're gonna start seeing these guys on the field. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be start to get into that. The problem is you start to see this, but then in another week and a half, you get that 15 to 20 days of just like of dead space, dead air.
It feels like a year.
Potentially, it may not with after June 1st, Eagles making a deal, because it seemed like the last 10, 15 days was kind of nothing going on. It was just a lot of just quietness. And there'll be some OTAs this week. And then, of course, next week you'll have the potential, maybe the potential trade finally come due ahead there. So it'll give us something to talk about there. And then you only have essentially a couple weeks until training camp starts in end of July. So
now I will say that I have heard about the AJ Brown piece, and this is all I'll say. The only thing that I've heard is that Howie is willing to take this as long as it takes to get one. So if he doesn't go at 4:00 or whatever it is on June 1st, don't be surprised. If he doesn't go on June 2nd, don't be surprised. I think he gets moved ultimately, but I think Howie's willing to take it into training camp if he has to.
Howie wants to get the best deal possible.
Exactly. So do what's best for the team.
All right. So it looks like, so tomorrow and Wednesday, and then the 29th, which is Friday? Yeah. And then Monday and Tuesday, June 1st and 2nd. And then June 4th, which is Thursday.
I love that.
And then following the OTAs, the Philadelphia will hold a mandatory minicamp from June 9th to 10th before players eventually break for the summer ahead of training camp later in July. So, that next week we'll have something, and then the following week we'll have something for 2 days. And then after that, there's going to be about a month until you get the training camp and more rampant news and stuff like that. But we'll have some ideas and some things to do. So don't worry about that.
A lot of immaculate grids.
Exactly. We'll have a lot of immaculate grids.
Maybe some guests. We have a couple that we're kicking around.
Or that could definitely be something as well, of course. That would always be.
I have a fun one. I have a fun one that's not directly football related that we can talk about.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
It's fine by me. But just a quick short show tonight. But again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure that you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting the share button, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff on all the platforms, whether it's on X, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff, YouTube. So we appreciate it. Going to have a lot more coming, and I cannot wait. But with that, as we always end it, with a very happy and joyful, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Hey guys, it's Davo. Some people call me Davo of Philly. I'm here with Big Dom, and check out All About the Birds. Go Birds.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ian. Make sure you're following All About the Birds. I absolutely love their content.
Just wanted to give the guys over at All About the Birds a huge shout out.
Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the birds.
All birds all the time.
All birds, all the